Welcome wherever you are in the world. I'm in New York, fun fact, but welcome everybody to Worsta's webinar on AI-powered productivity. We're thrilled, happy, and excited to have you joining us today as we explore really awesome potentials of Google's NotebookLM, a really awesome tool that it's basically designed to revolutionize how you work with a lot of information. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how Worsta helps you as a partner, and we're just going to have some fun together, answering some questions, having an open discussion. So to kick things off, let's get to know your speakers, which is me. Hi, I'm Chris. I'm the host of the event. I'm the lead Gemini trainer here at Worsta with 3 years of internal Worsta experience at client services. And I've also been training with Google Workspace products since about 2018-ish. And I also have a crazy background in acting, directing, and playwriting. So that's me. I love personally helping connect with diverse businesses and helping them achieve unique goals by using technology however they see fit. And I'm really excited about this event because I've been one of those guys that's been talking about AI for like years, like even before the AI boom happened. So I'm excited to talk about it with you today. As a trainer here at Worsta, I help with multiple facets of Worsta with its clients and its customers. And so here at Worsta, we help with we specialize in customer journeys with technology, right? So you'll probably interact with me at some point further along in our relationship with a conversation with or with our relationship with you when our org has moved on from discovering KPIs and missing puzzle pieces in your tech stack and onto enabling your workers. I'm one of those key people that you'll be interacting with in the future. So that's me. All right. Awesome. Yeah. So what we're going to talk about today, we're going to do sort of an AI journey. What's the lay of the land right now? Here at Worst, we trying to have our fingers on the pulse of AI and what's happening. I'm going to show you a really good demo and overview of NotebookLM. Very, very good. I'm gonna rate it pretty high up there, but it won't be sort of a demo you'd get as a customer, and we'll talk about that as well because we're going to talk about Worsta's agentic human augmentation journey. And what is that? Or are those a bunch of words, or is that something that we are really, really proud of to present to you? And at the end of it, we'll do a Q&A as well to answer any questions that you might have. So awesome, let's get going because I don't like wasting time. Yeah, so we're at the start of the era of AI-powered work. This is a new era. We're at the start of it. We're at the beginning. And it's the excitement is palpable. Expectations are high. And leaders are recognizing that AI just isn't a future or matrix. It's a present day necessity. 31% of leaders expect substantial transformation from AI in less than 1 year. So as the business landscape evolves rapidly, AI is playing a huge pivotal role in its future. Now, to put things in perspective, we are experiencing a revolution on par with steam power, on par with electricity and information technology, the internet, artificial intelligence is here today. It's like the Industrial Revolution 4.0 is what it's like. So humans and technology are interact intuitively through language. Generative AI is poised to disrupt basically every industry out there, and the rate of adoption of Gen AI is unprecedented. So think about the explosive growth of tools like Gemini. I use Gemini in work, and I use Gemini in life. I actually have a 22-month-old that I am using Gemini with on a day-to-day basis, figuring out ways to raise him, and that's just me personally. And in work, there's clear indicators of demands for AI solutions. And next slide, because this is sort of the third chapter of crazy evolutions in the last 25 years, and it's really exciting. I'm pumped about it. And at Worsta, we think of AI as the next big picture. I would not call it a shift, but more of like a continuation, another accelerant at scale, right? So first there's the internet, then there's mobile, then there's AI. So it's a huge culture shift. And Gen AI can create values for companies in so many ways. Two of the most important ways in our view is focusing, or number one, focusing employees on high value activities. AI in general just saves time. It helps me write and rewrite documents. It helps me summarize everything that I need to see. It helps me respond to emails faster, get to the point, and saves minutes here, half an hour there. And in fact, sometimes just a lot of our day-to-day life is staring at a blank screen and willing for text to appear there, right? And talk about writer's block. If you have like 3 or 4 people collaborating on that issue, then it becomes even harder, right? So like automating business processes and assisting with time-consuming or difficult tasks like that will make teams and individuals way more productive. And then also, it's just about improving business outcomes as well, right? So like increasing employee productivity boosts companies' performance, and it can result in measurable KPIs, measurable increases in revenue as more output is available to be commercialized, to be added to AI, right? And Google is, in general, we're a Google partner, and it's been integrated into, and they've been integrating AI into its products for over a decade. It started a while ago, probably in 2014, when they bought DeepMind or acquired DeepMind. That was one of the first AI tools that beat chess players, and then started to beat video game players, get players of Go, which is a more advanced game than chess, I'm told. And then it started integrating AI into all facets of its workspace. So like things like quick responses, things like artificial intelligence in meeting rooms and meet technology, cutting out sounds like air conditioning systems and dog barking. Everything like that was the beginning of AI. And then we had the boom of AI of ChatGPTs, and then Bards and Duet AI, and now we're into Gemini as well. So it's been over a decade it's been happening. But I'm here to talk specifically about NotebookLM. This is an amazing AI tool that is part of Google Workspace and is part of Gemini. It's actually available to everyone who has a Google Workspace account. Even if you have just a normie Gmail, you actually have NotebookLM as well. So I'm going to give you sort of an overview of it, what it is, how you use it, and then we're going to talk, and I'm going to show you a demo of how to use it and what's the differences between NotebookLM and GEMS, and really another cool feature inside Google Workspace. But starting with NotebookLM, it's an amazing research and writing tool that can take so many sources at once, sources from websites, sources from docs, slides, PDFs, YouTube videos. You could take an entire YouTube video, throw it into NotebookLM on a certain subject, and automatically have ways of becoming an expert on that subject using those sources to you. In fact, NotebookLM, you can use up to 300 sources, and that's all these documents combined, making it a really awesome portal to be an expert on a huge swath of subjects. And in fact, I'm going to show you a really good NotebookLM demo right now. Great, so here's a little tour of NotebookLM. I use it as my personal research and assistant tool for AI. It's great for grounding a lot of information all in one spot. Grounding, by the way, is a great AI term for knowing where your sources are coming from and knowing that those sources are correct. So we're going to go, just as an example, into this notebook with Atomic Habits. Atomic Habits is a best-selling book by James Clear, and you can see that I've uploaded the entire book into this notebook, and that's okay. I can actually upload, clicking add source, up to 300 sources into a single notebook. You can see that down at the bottom over here. 300 sources is a lot. You'll see later in GEMS, you can only add up to 10 sources into a single gem. But for notebook, again, you have the limit of 300. You can add Drive, so files from Drive, docs, slides, websites, YouTube videos. By the way, YouTube videos, you can upload them if they are public YouTube videos, and if they have a text transcript. If they don't, or if they're private, then unfortunately that won't work. But yeah, public and having a transcript helps with the YouTube videos. You can also upload just copying text or just files from your computer, PDFs, text files, markdowns, and audio files as well. And yeah, so here we go. And once you upload those, you have the center chat option, which will summarize everything that you have inside the sources, and you can just start to ask questions. In fact, there are some cool AI questions that NotebookLM just suggests that you ask. So I'm going to click one of these and ask the question. So you'll notice that with every answer, every single piece of text inside the answer of NotebookLM, it is sourced from the text in your sources. It's grounded there, so you can find exactly the referencing of, or exactly the reference of where it found that information. And for instance, if I were to ask it another question, like, tell me about Steph Curry, as an example, it won't know anything about Steph Curry. It's not mentioned by name. You can draw parallels, but that's it. They mentioned training, but there's no other info about Steph Curry, only referenceable info from the grounded sources inside a notebook. So this is great as a learning development guy. I can upload so many sources about a product that I'm teaching or helping people to learn, and I can only get answers on that. Now, also, over here you have the studio and the notes section inside NotebookLM as well. And I love these quick click options: study guide, briefing doc, FAQ, timeline. All of these are super useful insights into your notebook that are quickly generatable. So let's see here. Let's go first on the study guide, which is being generated. There's the study guide. So the study guide creates a short answer quiz. So you got the questions, and then the short answer quiz key, so the answers, essay format questions, and then a glossary of key terms that have happened throughout the notebook. Really, really awesome and useful. Then you have the briefing doc. This will give you sort of the overview of everything inside the notebook, including separating it into themes as well, and then ending with conclusions. And then also you have the study guide. So this is the key questions to ask about the sources if you want. But then my favorite personally is the timeline. We're going to click the timeline one more time just to double check that it's there. You can skip through the loading, through editing, right? There we go. Just to check that it's there. Let's click into that. So now you have the entire timeline of everything inside the sources, as well as my favorite bit, the cast of characters and brief bios. Now, why is that important? Well, let me make a NotebookLM for everyone here. I'm going to create a new one, and I'm going to upload a Google document of some meeting notes between Worsta and a customer. This customer doesn't exist, but I translated it, and it's actual meeting notes. So this is between a customer called Sustainable Creatives. This is about 5 or 6 weeks of meeting notes all inside this one document. And so now when I click timeline, what happens? Well, you get a timeline of every single meeting that happened. So there's the January meeting, there's the February meeting, as well as what was decided inside that. And then the cast of characters and brief bios mentions everyone inside those meeting notes. So there's Brian, there's me, and then there's the CTO, there's the admin, and then there's marketing, design, and research who also join those meetings as well. So it gets a really great overview of who is in those meetings, what's been happening, and it reminds you of who you're working with on a day-to-day basis. Really, really awesome. But let's go back into Atomic Habits and talk about my other favorite part of NotebookLM, which is the audio overview. The audio overview, when you generate it, it creates an AI podcast between a man and a woman that is about the sources of your notebook. This podcast can be about 20 minutes long, or it can be about an hour long, depending on how many sources that you have. This one is 16 minutes long. We're going to listen to the first 30 seconds of this podcast.
Welcome to our deep dive into the world of Atomic Habits.
Atomic Habits, yes.
We're going to be looking at excerpts from James Clear's book
Okay.
and kind of digging into how these tiny changes can make a big impact.
Right.
We'll unearth the most surprising and actionable points so you can put these concepts to work right away.
Yeah, it's not just theory, it's practical application.
Yeah.
The excerpts you've chosen really weave together the science of habits with real-world examples.
Exactly. And that's what makes it perfect for a deep dive like this.
Yeah.
So you can see that it's two people having a natural conversation completely generated by AI, and it lets you listen to people having a conversation, engaging with the work that you're doing. It's a really, really easy way to onboard people on projects that you're working on, throwing all the project files into the notebook and getting people up to speed in a 20-minute easily listenable tune or easily listenable podcast. And then also, to add a cherry on top, there's interactive mode. And let's show you interactive mode too. I'm going to hit play. It'll be pretty much the exact same recording.
Welcome to our deep dive into the world of atomic habits.
Atomic habits, yes.
We're going to be looking at excerpts
Now I'm going
from
to join
James
the
Clear's
conversation.
book and kind of digging into.
Oh, wait. Someone wants to join. Hey, go for it.
Yeah, hey, I have issues waking up early in the morning and getting my day started and on the right foot. What does Atomic Habits say about that?
Oh, I totally get that.
Yeah,
I think Atomic Habits has some really practical advice for that.
it does.
If you are having trouble changing your habits, the problem isn't you.
Right.
The problem is your system.
Yes.
So if you want to wake up earlier, the problem isn't that you are lazy, but your system is not optimized.
Exactly.
I think the 2-minute rule that comes up later could be super helpful.
How so?
Well, he suggests scaling it down to where you can't say no.
Okay.
So don't think I have to get up.
So really interesting that it takes what I'm saying, the feedback of that, and then it creates a feedback loop of those words, and it references my issue or my problem or my question. Really, really cool ability. Now, NotebookLM is super useful, especially internally with companies, because notebooks are shareable. I can share them internally only with other folks in my org if I want to. I can make them a viewer or an editor. I can take away their access if I want. I can give them a welcome note to explain what the notebook is, what's in it, how to use it. And then also, my favorite little specification of sharing notebooks is you can give people access to the full notebook, which means access to all the sources, or just the chat only, which means that they cannot access the sources or the notes, effectively making a chatbot around a lot of information. So companies can do this if they have, for instance, a lot of policies. What's my policy on traveling? Oh, I can just ask the policy notebook about it, and it will reference each question in its actual sourced and grounded information of that company's policies, right? So this makes a really, really cool interactive tool that teams can use to learn, onboard, and then just pull a lot of information out of a lot of different content at once. That's NotebookLM. It's a really, really cool AI ability within Google Workspace, and it's all generated by Gemini and Google AI. That demo and overview of NotebookLM. And of course, that's just a basic demo, but I feel like it needs a little bit more explanation. So we're going to go into this next slide to talk more about the abilities of NotebookLM. Let's see here. Oh, there we go. So NotebookLM, for me, it's about discovering how to use it for a company and how to use it for you, and also discovering the differences between NotebookLM and GEMS. GEMS, I'm not going to do that slide just yet, but so GEMS are the ability to create little mini AI agents in Gemini, so you can have it for workflows, so you can have an expert gem if you wanted it to. But I would say NotebookLM is great for expert documentation. It's best for learning and discovery. If you have maybe a customer, or maybe even that you want to research, or even maybe a competitor you want to have researchable action items for, I would throw in all the different content you have into a NotebookLM. So you can have up to 300 sources, including YouTube's, docs, sites, slides, and it's shareable internally, which is a very unique ability inside NotebookLM. You cannot share a gem, for instance. You have the audio podcast, so you can join the conversation, and you have those easily clickable briefing doc, timeline, FAQ, question documentations. But there are limitations to NotebookLM. For instance, someone in the question asked if there is a roadmap for NotebookLM for an app, because the web-based Note app is a little bit more pain than helpful in most cases. I think they're talking about the UI of NotebookLM and how it is a little bit chunky, admittedly. I like to sort my UI of the NotebookLM by, like by name and by individual reading. So right now, there is no roadmap for NotebookLM at the moment, other than the most recent addition, which is adding it to all Workspace SKUs. I believe the next one on the roadmap is adding it into Google Classroom, I want to say, for education purposes. But right now, I would keep an eye on an awesome website. It's called workspaceupdates.googleblog.com, and you can see the latest updates that happen there. But anyway, so there are limitations. So the UI is a little chunky, as I talked about. There's no sheets inside NotebookLM. You can't put a Google Sheet in there yet, but you can convert a Google Sheet into a CSV into a text file and upload that, and that will work. And then also, every website you put into NotebookLM, it is taking the static text from that website. So if that website were to update, you would have to re-upload that documentation or that website into the NotebookLM as well. Meanwhile, gems are great for workflows, for doing things one after the other after the other. Hey, I have a Google Sheet, and I always create these five charts with that sheet. Create a gem to do that for you, right? So they're like little mini AI agents helping you with workflows. You can have up to 10 sources of the inside the information of a gem to reference. Things like I would do templates. Things like I would do information documents, things like that. Meeting notes would be a great thing to put into a gem, to have like a gem meeting note expert, right? And you can make step-by-step instructions. So as an example, working as a partner, I always have to know the latest tech updates, right? So I have a gem internally that I use that I say, give me the latest Google Sheets update, for instance. And it does 3 things for me at once. It gives me that update in a small paragraph. It gives me the link of where it found that update. And then it composes an email sent out to a client or a customer announcing that update and letting them know why it's important to know about it. So I have 3 things in one when I just ask a question. So it's those great step-by-step instructions that make gems really, really powerful, right? And then it also updates web sources. So if you're always using a gem to check a website, it'll check that latest version of that website. Limitations for gems: no sharing of a gem. You can share a notebook, but you can't share a gem yet. Now, nothing is stopping you from taking the information of a gem and passing it on to somebody else by like copying and pasting the text, but you still can't create like a team gem to work on. And then also no large sources. It says up to 10 sources. Those sources have to be a limit of 100 megabytes per source. And even I have run into to roadblocks with a source smaller than 100 megabytes. So no large sources, and that limits gems as well. So using NotebookLM, what's a way to use it or to start off using it as a team to think about? Well, this is what I created. This is my way of teaching NotebookLM, just generally speaking. First, you define the purpose of the notebook. Why do I need a notebook? Are people needing to learn something really, really quick? Does someone need onboarding? And then what problem am I trying to solve? Who's the audience of the notebook? Who's collaborating with me, right? Then I gather the sources, and I assign someone to gather the sources, or I help, or I do it myself, right? So get those meeting notes, get the transcripts, look at all the websites, get the YouTube videos, convert sheets into text files, like I said, create new documents of action items. So there's a document of how to use the notebook or how things work. So maybe it's a document of internal processes, right? Throw in all those sources into the notebook, and then share an experiment. So this is like testing phase of the notebook. Ask the questions you want to know about, and also use the questions that Notebook suggests to ask to see if that's useful information, right? So use that briefing doc timeline FAQ and post that in the notes, and then listen to the podcast. You can edit the podcast and define the podcast to what you want to listen about, right? You can say, make the podcast only about this subject, or make the podcast towards this audience of people who are interested in this specific fact, right? So convert that podcast the way you want, and then specify your sharing permissions, right? Who has the chat of the notebook? Who has full access and can see the documentation, right? So maybe if it's a policy notebook, you don't want people accessing the policies. You just want them to ask the questions, right? And then add a welcome message, of course. And then iterate and improve the notebook. See what's working, what's not. And you can get reporting of a notebook as well to see if people are using it or not. If you share a notebook with more than 4 people, you get actual reporting, right? And then so update the notes and update the quick reports when you add in new files into that notebook as well. And there's many, many awesome ways to use a notebook. It's almost endless. I have like 45 notebooks that I'm working on right now. And I know people internally at Worsta who have over 100 notebooks. But usually it's a centralized knowledge repository. So if there's a subject, if there's relevant meeting notes, I have customer notebooks internally that we work on right now, right? Pass in Slack conversations, pass in chat conversations into that, right? So that anyone can just enter a notebook and get up to speed super quickly. It's great for business strategy and analysis. Take people's quarterly reports, throw them into notebooks that are publicly available, and see what the NotebookLM has to say about that to identify those market trends. Using it as a racing matrix and for timelines, so it has that cast of characters, right? That's an amazing resource to be able to use inside a notebook. Use it for onboarding. I've talked about that as well, and then also for sharing best practices, lessons learned. We're making project notebooks of wins and losses, and having all that in one huge database that you can just ask questions about is so valuable and so important. Awesome. But let's move on. Let's talk about AI right now and your journey and how Worsta can help with that. Is your company need AI? Maybe it doesn't, but maybe it does. How are your finances? How are your KPIs? How are your storage security, right? So what we do at Worsta is what we call the agentic human augmentation journey, involving the humans inside our AI approach with a 7-phase approach for AI transformation. So you can see it says agentic readiness rating, then goes into workforce augmentation, governance, cybersecurity, compliance, business innovation, data architecture, agentic implementation, and adaptive AI fluency. I'll just let you think about that for a second as I add liquid to my throat. There we go. So we just saw a demo of NotebookLM, which was pretty cool, right? But honestly, that's a very generic look at NotebookLM, honestly, right? You could probably find a demo, not as good as that, but similar to that on YouTube, right? But when it comes to knowing what NotebookLM can do for you, the real power comes in figuring out how it can work for your specific team, your specific processes, your specific workflows and data, right? And that's just a little piece of an AI puzzle inside a company, right? And working with Worsta is all about mapping out that entire plan where these puzzle pieces find their perfect fit, right? So when you're looking at this agentic human augmentation journey, right, you're starting here at this agentic readiness rating. And that's probably the most important part of it, because working with Worsta is not like a one and done, like slap a tool on, here you go, goodbye, have fun, right? Where we want to stick with you as your solution partner. We want to ride with you on this journey, on this process, because we keep our finger on the pulse of the AI, of the tech, of everything that's happening. And so that starts with the agentic readiness rating. So think of this as your like comprehensive checklist for your AI readiness. We're not just like jumping straight into implementation because that doesn't make sense, right? We're figuring out the lay of the land. Are you just starting to think about AI? Are you already experimenting? What's your infrastructure like? Where is it at? Is it in Snowflake? What's it like? All these things help us map out a plan and start building KPIs, right? So this is like this is about building a comprehensive multi-year strategy. It's not a quick fix. We plan to so the agentic readiness rating is like a plan that we deliver, that you can actually use. So it outlines everything in the next 5 phases, right? So it outlines the governance, outlines business innovation for planning, so for security considerations. So this isn't about forcing a square peg into a round hole or delivering like a prepackaged solution that we have like in our armpit. It's about building the foundation and the plan for success. So we identify the gaps, we identify the opportunities, we identify the best path forward and the strategy to implement that. So it's the big picture stuff. This is all about understanding where you are before we even think about any of the tools, right? Now, this is our methodology. This is sort of the magic of the work, right? So this is what happens when we've done that big picture assessment. So let's say you've already got Workspace already, and you're dipping your toes into AI. Well, this is about picking the team to work with. So maybe it's sales, maybe it's marketing, maybe it's HR, maybe it's customer support or whatever, and then saying, okay, let's really see how AI, how agentic augmentation can work for that team. So we dive deep into their workflows, and we don't just like ask what you do, we document everything and we identify the pain points, and then we align it with KPIs for a company, right? And so we're talking user research, we're talking about their daily challenges, and then building a specific solution for them. So example, maybe the sales team is drowning in meeting notes and follow-up emails. So that's where we implement NotebookLM, and we tailor their specific data and their sources to summarize those notes, to have a work process of that, and maybe even with NotebookLM and with the processes that we create, we're drafting personalized follow-up messages and helping that team create better collaboration amongst themselves. And that's how a problem can be solved, right? But it's focused, it's tangible, and it delivers these quick wins. So think of it as taking like an overall strategy and making it real for the specific team. So we pick the team, we document, we align, we propose, we implement, and then we take those KPIs and we measure them. The measurement is so important to what we do at Worsta because then we can provide and prove the value that we do, and then we can make adjustments as we need it. So it's a continuous cycle of improvement. So this is like the team level stuff. This is how we do things in specific groups. And it builds on that bigger picture of that previous slide where you'll see real measurable results. Awesome. So we've created a NotebookLM step-by-step guide to use just to get you started. You can find that at this site below. And then also, every so often, we create quick tips on YouTube. We have actually an awesome YouTube channel where you can find previous webinars like this one, and also trainings, quick tips for Gemini. We try and keep up with the latest and greatest updates of what Gemini has to offer as well. A lot of it, and sometimes using that Workspace updates website I referenced to Chris Mills earlier. So use that website as well for future resources, but also check out our YouTube. And in general, does anyone in this lovely call have any other questions that we can talk about or answer while we're all here together in New York? It's a beautiful day, and I hope it's a beautiful day with you as well, but happy to answer questions that you might have. Yeah, I just talked a lot. I get it. It's all about downloading information and understanding it. As soon as this webinar is released into the YouTube, I also recommend to throw it into NotebookLM and ask more questions that way as well. Our previous webinar, for the record, was with Etsy, talking about how Gemini is improving all of their workflows with customer support. And that's also an awesome webinar. But I guess we have shy people in the call who don't have questions. and that's fine. I think that just means I did a good job presenting, maybe. But if you have any questions in general, please contact us. You can either email us at info@worsta.com. That's the shortest URL. Or you can, if you're a current client and you want to talk more about this agentic augmentation journey, email your account manager at accountmanagement@worsta.com. And also just check out our website, www.worsta.com. Thanks. My name is Chris. You can find me on our on LinkedIn pages. So feel free to connect with me through that. Will they be updating? We're getting not shy people now. Will they be updating voices for the audio in LM? That is a good question, Danny. I do not know, honestly. I'm not sure. Maybe they will. Maybe they won't. Will they be? What would be the difference between Notebook and ChatGPT, Jorge? Those are a lot of differences, man. Where to begin? Well, ChatGPT is under OpenAI. They are a third-party, peripheral AI LLM that is used for a lot of different things. They're also sourced into Microsoft with Copilot. That's more like saying the better question is what's the difference between ChatGPT and Gemini, which is NotebookLM is part of Gemini. So to answer that question, Gemini is integrated into Google Workspace. So security-wise, it's the exact same terms of service that you sign over for Google Workspace that you do with Gemini. So everything that you put into Gemini is not being used to train the large language learning model at large around the world. You can't say the same for your ChatGPTs and your even like your other third party, like your Llamas, your other AI LLMs. And then also Gemini works the exact same way as Google Workspace permissions. So you only have access to your files and Gemini only has access to those files as well. So you cannot, for instance, say, what are my boss's emails and how are they responding to them? No, because it's Gemini. It only has access to your emails and how you're responding to them. And you can't ask that, like, what are my emails with Gemini? So yeah. And the other thing I would say is that it's integrated all throughout Google Workspace, Gemini. So you can access Gemini in Docs, Sheets, Slides, Drive, PDFs, Gmail, and then also gemini.google.com. Is there a file size limit? To NotebookLM files, the file size limit is 200 megabytes per file or 500,000 words, I believe. And 500,000 is a lot. So good luck finding that limit, unless you're uploading the Magna Carta over and over and over and over again, or War and Peace. Maybe I would just upload War and Peace in sections. Awesome. Great questions, though, Jorge, Jesse, Danny, Chris. Thank you so much for involving yourself in today's webinar. If anybody else has any questions, please, I'm an open book. Awesome. Well, if there's no more questions, I'm going to thank everyone for your time today. And thank you so much for joining this webinar. I hope it was useful and helpful. I hope that you'll be integrating NotebookLM into some of your workflows and also thinking about Worsta as a long-term AI innovation partner. So thank you so much again for being here. I hope everyone has a beautiful rest of your day.